But a lot of the time we'll get into conversations that are not necessarily about what we do. So they'll be looking for, say, privileged access management as an example. And if we can understand quite early on, no, all of these problems that you're presenting me with are not necessarily something we're going to be able to help you with in this conversation. Not right now. What you need right now, based upon the priorities that you're talking about, is this solution. And I think you're right. We don't see that enough. And I think that is the way it should be. It should be very, going right back to what we were talking about at the beginning, really being kind of value driven, making sure that, above all else, what we're supposed to be doing as responsible vendors is solving problems. We're supposed to be providing those solutions. That's a really good point.
Yeah, we said it a lot. Most of the customers that we are working with are not satisfied from their vendors. And it's because the vendors trying just to sell them. They're really just trying to present better ARR on the slide in the end of the queue. Mm-hmm. Once they will start to think more in a value-oriented strategy, they will see it will be better. Even if I will succeed to sell you just because I convinced you to buy my product, it doesn't matter because tomorrow you will replace me. So no rush. Stop a moment, think about what you're trying to achieve. And I think, by the way, that's how open source, in my opinion, started. It started just because the ecosystem trying to help each other to solve problems, right? Same here. I don't see any reason that CISO to CISO, CISO to vendor will use the knowledge, use the capacity, use the expertise in order to help each other to solve from small problems up to big. One of the CISOs that even not a customer called us because I know them from the past and I told them that we did some complicated stuff with Splunk. It's not in my domain. I don't try to sell Splunk. I don't try to integrate Splunk. But he knew that one of our team members succeeded to do something complicated and he just helped them, right? So why not?
Yeah, I love that ethos. I think it's fantastic. And like you said, it only means that when it is the right time for you to discuss services that are going to be beneficial to the CISO, then they're more likely to call you back if you solved the problem. And I think that's absolutely spot on. So I think on that then, while we're talking about products or solutions, or typically we find we talk to ourselves, we talk to a lot of CISOs or security teams, and they have got a ton or a bank of different solutions doing different things, and they're getting these logs from one source and these logs from another source, and there's loads of flashing lights and buttons and email alerts, and it's chaos. What would be your advice to a CISO to, rather than taking on more products, trying to fix more problems, how would you advise them to kind of take a step back and look holistically at what they've got and figure out which of these solutions is actually solving a problem, which of these solutions kind of work together, and how they could potentially reduce the stack of technologies that they've got or add to the stack of technologies that they've got? How do they take that holistic approach to see what's going on?
It's a good point. I mean, it's a really good point. Look, that's why we decided to develop a contextual approach, right? Because everything is a feed. Everything is a feed. CV scan is a feed. Threat intelligence is a feed. Configuration management and CSPM another feed. So that's how specifically Lightspin do that, but it's not always right for all the solutions. Having said that, as I see that, a lot of time customers ask me, do you support integration to X? Right? I don't know. I use ServiceNow, and that's what they need. In my opinion, if there are 4 vendors that you're really satisfied from the results from them, maybe you should check out on the next license renewal, or even before that, if you can ask them to do an integration between them, and not only as a SIEM, sometimes in order to, again, prioritize the problems. But yeah, in my personal opinion, is it's not only budget oriented, but actually coverage. I mean, the CISO have to take a decision where he want to invest more resources, and that's not something new. But he also have to answer a bigger question: is the vendor he used today actually cover it, or I don't know, three vendors together will cover it? Because even so, I need a CSPM and I need a CP management solution. Maybe I together even with DevOps with some Python we can configure those solutions work together as one holistic tool, right? It's more important in my opinion than trying to continue to check more and more and more vendors and see what you can do. And if the integration is not supported, just ask it from the vendor to develop it for you. It's a reasonable request in my opinion.
Yeah, I completely agree. And if they're not willing to kind of, listen and I guess value the feedback that you're giving, or they're not willing to really understand your problem, then are they really the right technology partner to be working with? I think.
Yeah,
it's a good point. So we talked a bit about how the CISO can communicate with the rest of the business. I guess my final question today is really how can, going back the other way, how can the business effectively communicate with the CISO to get the most out of their security strategy? How because it's a two-way communication. What advice would you give to businesses in the way that they communicate with their security officers?
Wow, it's a tough one. It's a really good question. I think if you remember, I talked about ROI, right? One of the things that we're always trying to do is create some reports that will help, or dashboard, doesn't matter, it's pretty much the same. It can help the CISO to present the cost-effective results of our solution to the management. Because everyone have today some cloud security solution, and the CISO have to convince the management why do they need another one. Even though he thinks it's a great solution, he wants it, it's always a conflict with the CFO, CIO, or even CO or CTO, depends on the organization. So I think that, again, I don't have a CISO today, so it's a little bit difficult for me to answer that, but I believe that when I will have a CISO on my organization, first thing will be give them freedom. Okay, I think we have to give to the CISO freedom to take a decision, what he thinks is the right thing to do. And even if I define him some budget, I think it's always will be smarter. First of all, I think it's always smart to define the budget from day one, because I see organizations that the CISO don't have, and for everything you have to go to the CTO, which is, in my opinion, it's useless. I prefer that my CISO will have some budgets that he knows that can do stuff without not interrupting him every time about it, and always keep for them the extra, especially for cases in which he discovers something that you really love to see. And in this case, yes, I would love to understand from the CISO probably that he will show me results, that he will show me ROI. How does this? I know that in security it's really difficult to show ROI because I cannot show that this tool help me to earn another, I don't know, £200,000 or something. But if I can show them that thanks to my solution, the CISO succeeded to reduce the risk, improve the time of the management, detected things that's been in the environment for, I don't know, 200 days, and thanks to us, we detected, so we like replaced 200 days time or manpower, right? Or we provided mitigations that reduce the time that the team have to invest and do a research in order to understand how to mitigate something. This is ROI about. And in my opinion, my CISO will be ROI-oriented CISO, which means he will have to prove the ROI. Even so, sometimes it's super difficult. I think that, I know, because runtime protection solution, right? I mean, if there is no attack, there is no ROI. But I sure that you always can define extra capabilities and other things that you can put on the map on how do you pass the message of the what is the ROI that we get from use Lightspin, use, I don't know, other tools that you have, anything, CSPM, runtime protection, CASB, whenever it will be.